Today, jurors began hearing testimony from one of the most critical witnesses in Donald Trump's hush money election interference trial, David Pecker, the former publisher of the National Enquirer. He's at the heart of the alleged coordination between Michael Cohen and Trump to silence the stories of women who claim to have had sexual relations with Trump in order to save his campaign. A longtime friend and ally of Trump, Pecker, has been cooperating with state and federal prosecutors in their investigations. Prosecutors say Pecker participated in an August 2015 meeting with Trump and Michael Cohen to discuss countering negative stories about Trump's relationships with women by buying exclusive rights to their stories and then never publishing them, a practice known as catch and kill. Pecker has been granted immunity in exchange for his testimony. And in 2018, the Enquirer's parent company, American Media, Inc., made a deal to avoid federal prosecution, acknowledging that it paid $150,000 to Playboy model Karen McDougal for her story about an alleged affair and held it until after the election. In October 2016, Pecker is alleged to have aided Trump yet again, brokering the deal that led to Michael Cohen's $130,000 payment to Stormy Daniels. Pecker testified for less than 30 minutes today, but is expected to take the stand again tomorrow. In his brief time on the stand, Pecker explained how his former company conducted business. He told the court, quote, "We used checkbook journalism and we paid for stories. I gave a number to the editors that they could not spend more than $10,000 to investigate, produce, or publish a story." Joining me now is Christy Greenberg, former SDNY Criminal Division Deputy Chief and MSNBC legal analyst, who was in the courtroom today. And back with me are Adam Reese and Danny Savalos. Adam, I promise to come to you first.
Right. Well, David Pecker is going to take us right into this scheme, the conspiracy. They gather at Trump Tower. You've got three players, three co-conspirators, Donald Trump, David Pecker, and Michael Cohen. And the Access Hollywood tape comes out. The campaign is turned upside down. What are we going to do? They're on defense. So they hatch this plan. They meet at Trump Tower. They're going to do three things. They're going to catch and kill. Three stories: Stormy Daniels, Karen McDougal, and this doorman who's got this story of Donald Trump fathering a child unwed, which apparently isn't true. That's number one. Number two, they're going to attack his opponents in the 2016 election, Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio. And number three, they're going to promote good stories. We are hearing now from David Pecker right at the end of trial today. He's going into his emails. He's got two emails. He's got a number of telephones. We're going to start hearing these communications, texts, emails. It's the documentation, the checks. It's all of that that will back him up. And as Danny said, he could be as important a witness as Michael Cohen.
And so, Christy, well, thank you for being here. And so you were at SDNY. We were talking off. I'm going to bring our off-the-record conversation during the break online. I mean, the issue here is that Michael Cohen was prosecuted by the Southern District of New York, where you used to work. But the Southern District of New York could not prosecute Trump at the time, he was a part of the conspiracy. He's named in the Cohen indictment, right? Individual one. But he was president, so he was untouchable at the time. To me, the problem the defense is going to have is explaining how what Cohen did is a crime, but he did it for individual one, but that person also isn't guilty of a crime.
Right. I mean, at Cohen's guilty plea, Cohen very clearly says, "I did this at the direction of and in coordination with Donald Trump." And it is there in black and white. He's never backed away from that since his plea. He's been consistent with that. And so, yes, that piece, I think, is going to be really hard for them to deal with. And they honed in on this in the opening, the state. They were very clear. Who was the beneficiary? Who was this at the direction of? The same words that Cohen used, you saw in the opening today, because it's a key point. The jury will very clearly use their common sense and understand that.
Everyone will understand, Danny. Michael Cohen isn't the one who had an affair with these women. So he had no reason to do it. There's no reason to take out a $130,000 second mortgage on your home that you then have to make up lies to the bank in order to qualify for it, because you wouldn't have qualified other than making up stuff on the form. So then you committed that secondary crime. What reason would he have to do that if he wasn't doing it for Trump and if Trump wasn't going to pay him back?
I'm glad you brought that up, because that's a great example. If Michael Cohen had been an ultra-rich friend of Donald Trump, and he could just reach into his pocket and pull out $130,000, then that might be a tougher argument to make. But what you're pointing out is Michael Cohen did this at great risk to himself, at great cost to himself, at great difficulty. Imagine for anybody going and getting a mortgage for the purpose of paying hush money. That is not something that you would do unless you had some tremendous benefit from that. And for Michael Cohen, there was none. The only person benefiting was Donald Trump. So I think the state is going to benefit from that. In addition, they have corroboration. I mean, we've spent so much time talking about Michael Cohen being not credible. I don't know that it matters all that much. It doesn't matter because they have David Pecker. They have the documents. We've seen the documents since at least 2017, 2018. The checks with Donald Trump's signature on them. All of those records are going to come in. And the jury, as I think juries often do, I think they understand that cooperating witness types are not perfect. And there's even a rap that prosecutors will do in their closing. It's going to sound something like, we didn't choose this witness. Michael Cohen, we didn't choose him. Trump did. That's who Trump did business with. That's who we had to bring in here to tell you the story. So look, so far, Prosecution 101, they're following the playbook. We'll see how it goes.
Let's talk about how the jury, you guys were in the courtroom, what the demeanor of the jury, you were talking a little bit about that. How were they reacting to the things they were hearing, both from David Pecker and from the prosecution and the defense?
So I was very keen on when the prosecutor was talking through the Access Hollywood tape and the language there. And I didn't see anybody flinch. There was no visible reaction to that language. There was a visible reaction when both sides were talking about how frugal Donald Trump was. At least one juror smiled and kind of, like rolled her eyes a little bit. Like there were reactions to that, but otherwise it was tough to read them.
Yeah.
It was day one. It was a short day. They were listening intently and they were actually taking copious notes. So we'll have to see as it goes on. There'll be some witnesses that aren't as exciting as David Pecker. But for today, they were listening intently.
What do you all expect to hear? Because David Pecker is going to testify in greater, because today was Passover, so obviously they had a shorter day. What do you all expect to hear from David Pecker? What do you think more he will bring to the table?
I think David Pecker is a great witness for the people because he's going to describe a scheme. In other words, this will not be a case where we're looking at one or two or really the transactions that are in the indictment in isolation. David Pecker is going to set the stage. He's going to take us back to the beginning. In the beginning, there was a meeting. And in that meeting, we talked about our catch and kill thing that we did. And notice that even in his opening testimony, David Pecker described what he called checkbook journalism. That actually is at odds with what Trump's defense counsel said in his opening, which was to portray this as, well, look, the Inquirer does what it does. We don't have any control over their editorial capacity or what they do. So instead, David Pecker is going to really describe the culture of what his business did and what he did through his relationship with Michael Cohen, with Donald Trump. And remember, they were friends. He may have information that we don't even know about yet through that friendship. So again, David Pecker is at the lead, and I think that's for a reason. The people feel comfortable with him. They feel like they can come out of the gate with a bang, and I think that's what they're going to do.
And he'll tell the full truth. He already cut a deal.
Hey, everyone. MSNBC has a new and improved app. You'll get real-time alerts and analysis, live blogs, in-depth essays, video highlights, and the best 2024 election coverage. Download the new MSNBC app. Here's how to do it. You tap on the App Store on your phone. You hit search on the bottom right corner. You type in MSNBC. You click on the MSNBC app. You click on Get or the cloud icon and enjoy it.